You've been told you have free will, that every choice you make is yours alone, that your destiny is a blank canvas waiting for you to paint it. But what if that's only part of the truth? What if your sense of freedom is itself a construction, one carefully woven by forces you rarely see or understand? Esoteric traditions and Hermetic philosophy whisper a deeper message. Free will exists, but not the way you think. Your conscious mind is a ship sailing on vast unconscious currents. Your choices are often responses to unseen influences, patterns of thought, inherited beliefs, social conditioning, even cosmic rhythms. The question isn't whether you have free will. The real question is, who or what is guiding the will you think is yours? Until you see the hidden forces at play, you mistake reaction for freedom. You call conditioned reflex choice, and so you live inside a dream, believing yourself the dreamer. From the Hermetic view, true free will emerges only when consciousness becomes sovereign, when it rises above the tides of unconscious influence. Otherwise, what we call choice is often just an echo of conditioning. Look closely. Why do you prefer certain foods, colors, careers, or relationships? Why do you fear some paths and feel drawn to others? Behind every I want or I fear is a web of experiences, memories, ancestral imprints, and collective energies pulling the strings. Esoteric teachings urge you to see that most of your mind operates like a program running in the background, automated, habitual, invisible. You think you are choosing, but often you are replaying old scripts written by others, by parents, by culture, by history itself. True freedom begins when you start questioning the source of your desires. When you ask, is this truly my will, or simply a reflection of forces I have not yet seen? The Hermetic sages taught that to truly awaken free will, one must first recognize the forces that shape the unconscious mind. Awareness is liberation. Every unconscious pattern that becomes conscious loses its power to dictate your behavior. This path is not easy. It demands relentless self-observation. You must be willing to see the mechanisms of your own mind, the habits you inherited, the fears you absorbed, the invisible contracts you signed without knowing. True awakening feels less like gaining something new and more like stripping away layers of illusion. When you catch yourself reacting automatically, when you notice a desire arise and question its origin, you begin the great work, shifting from being a puppet of unseen currents to becoming a conscious navigator of life. But even then, sovereignty is not absolute. You are still embedded in a larger cosmic mind. Yet within that dance, you gain degrees of freedom. And with each degree, you reclaim another piece of your true power. If awakening speaks to you, subscribe and ring the bell. The next step on your journey might be just one choice away. Freedom, then, is not a binary state. You have it or you don't. It's a spectrum. A soul entangled entirely in unconscious patterns has little freedom, even if it believes otherwise. A soul that has untangled some threads, that has illuminated some blind spots, begins to move with greater authenticity. Hermetic wisdom teaches that true will, the highest expression of freedom, is not the random indulgence of every desire. It is the focused alignment of your mind with higher principles: truth, harmony, wisdom, creation. When your personal will is attuned to universal will, paradoxically, you become most free. You are no longer pushed and pulled by every emotional wave, no longer hypnotized by every passing fear or craving. You begin to act rather than react, to create rather than replicate. And it is here, in this subtle inner shift, that the illusion of free will begins to dissolve and real sovereignty is born. Many fear that questioning free will lead to despair, to helplessness. But Hermetic wisdom points to the opposite. Recognizing the limits of your current freedom does not disempower you. It awakens you. It calls you to a deeper participation in the weaving of your life, rather than drifting unconsciously on inherited winds. When you realize that most of your reactions were programmed, you are no longer trapped by them. You can choose again, with more awareness, more precision. You can recognize when fear is speaking instead of wisdom, when habit masquerades as desire. This is the beginning of true magic. Not the kind of magic that bends external reality immediately, but the kind that bends your internal reality over time, shifting your vibrational field, altering your trajectory, and thereby inevitably influencing the outer world. The alchemist changes himself first, reality follows second. The greatest illusion is not that you have no free will. It's believing you have fully awakened free will when much of your life is still running on unseen scripts. True sovereignty demands ruthless honesty with yourself. It demands a willingness to confront the subtle places where unconscious patterns still pull your strings. No blame is needed, no shame, only clarity. Awareness is the solvent that dissolves the invisible chains. Each time you bring a shadowed pattern into the light of consciousness, you reclaim a fragment of your true will. This is the work of the mystic, the alchemist, the awakened soul, not to escape the world, but to transform it from within. You cannot control every storm, but you can master the way you sail through it. You cannot erase every shadow, but you can carry your own light. And with that light, choice becomes real. Will becomes aligned. Freedom becomes not an idea, but a living experience. There is a deeper paradox hidden within the nature of free will. The more you awaken, the less you identify with the small I that once craved freedom. You realize that what you thought was you was mostly a bundle of habits, fears, and borrowed beliefs. In the great Hermetic view, the true self is not the conditioned personality. It is the timeless spark of consciousness observing it all. This self does not cling, does not chase, does not resist. It witnesses. It chooses with clarity, without compulsion. Freedom, then, is not about doing whatever you want whenever you want. It is about discovering who you truly are beneath the noise of wants and fears. It is about choosing from alignment, not reaction. As you reclaim more of your true will, you cease being a character blown about by external forces. You become an author, writing your story not from woundedness, but from wisdom. And that story, written from sovereignty, shapes the universe around you in ways the old self could barely imagine. In the end, the real question is not merely, do I have free will, but am I conscious enough to wield it? Free will is not a trophy given at birth. It is a fire to be tended, a power to be claimed, a responsibility to be earned through awareness. Most live thinking they are free, while unknowingly being governed by instincts, by inherited fears, by social programming. Real freedom begins not with external rebellion, but with an internal awakening, the realization that you must first free yourself from yourself. You are free not when you indulge every impulse, but when you discern which impulses serve your highest truth. You are free when you act from clarity rather than compulsion, when your will is rooted in awareness, not reaction. The Hermetic path teaches that life is not a trap to escape, but a mystery to master from within. Sovereignty is not given. It is forged, refined, and lived moment by moment. The sovereign spark is already alive within you, waiting, watching. The only question that remains is simple. Will you awaken it, or continue dreaming that you already have? If you are not fully conscious of your will, are you truly free, or just following a dream scripted by others?